Yeah. So it would probably help. It would probably help if I put us on the stage. Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, we were having technical difficulties. So, oh, I don't need this in. So, let us know. Make sure that you can hear us and everything like that. I see the monitor working, so hopefully everything's okay. All right.
Hey, so recently in comments, somebody said, "Well, it must be nice for you to live in Lisbon, Portugal, but the rest of us got to stay here and work for the rest of our lives until we die." It's like, really? Why putting the guilt on me?
First of all, I'm not sure why she's trying or he is trying to curse our whole community. That's number one. And number two, when she says most of us, who's she referring to? Who are they referring to?
I don't know. The truth of the matter is the majority of Black Americans are middle class income earners or higher.
That's right. That's right. So if that's you, maybe you ain't been handling your money right. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Dang, you
What?
mean you got to go there?
For those of you who do not know, back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake up call. We were getting close to retirement age, right? We looked at our money and it looked crazy.
Crazy.
But we got our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. See, we did not let our ego stand in the way and say, well, I've been doing things this way and it's been working out, right? We realized we did not know everything we needed to know to get to financial independence. So we started doing some research, right? When we went from negative 22,000 to 1.1 million in net worth. That's what we did. If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe. Hit that like and that notification bell twice so that you know every single time that we go live, right?
Yes, exactly. That's why today we're going to dispel the myth that there's racism everywhere. So why move? And the myth that we're simply running from our problems.
So, yeah, there is racism everywhere, but it doesn't look the same everywhere.
No.
It does not look the same. Then you'll want to stick around to the end because we're going to show you 3 different financial scenarios and how we would approach them. We want to also hear from you, right? Like we're going to show you these scenarios, 3 different cases, 3 different income levels, et cetera, et cetera. We want you to look at them and see if you can find some similarities and the thought process that goes into how to turn things around.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started.
First, we need to introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's right. Hey, y'all, my name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money. We talk about travel and life abroad. We help folks who are getting close to retirement age who look like us. We help them get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even early.
And abroad is good too.
All right, sweetie, let's get started.
So look, I'm not going to lie. For those of us who didn't plan well financially, I'm just going to tell you, you will have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah. So, look, you got to make sacrifices now for freedoms tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Because Rick and I, for those of you who are newer, we were saving 65% of our income, y'all. And we never, ever, ever made 6 figures. Ever.
Did she say never, ever?
Never, ever. So yeah, no, we never made 6 figures. But we were saving those last 3 years or so, we were saving 65% of our income because we had a goal. And so that means, yeah, we made some sacrifices that turned out to not really be that sacrificial. Like we didn't miss most of the stuff that we gave up,
no.
Right? But we just didn't give it up before because we thought we needed these things.
Well, they weren't necessities.
Exactly.
They were wants.
Exactly. So we want folks to overcome their fears of discrimination abroad. Okay. Yes. Anti-Blackness is global. Yes.
It's everywhere.
Anti-Black American is global. Yes. Racism is global. But is it lethal? is racism lethal everywhere? And I would say probably not. Probably not.
Mhm.
So the number one question we get is, will I feel welcome?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know, what if I'm treated differently?
Right?
That's a common fear.
Exactly. So look, a 2024 World Bank survey shows that African Americans often report less discrimination in countries like Portugal, right? Mexico, and other places like that. But I know that the fear is still present in our community. And so what we're saying is don't let that hinder you. Like, do the thing anyway. And maybe if that is one of your major fears, what you need to do is take an extensive scouting trip, right? Take an extensive scouting trip in the country of your choice, or countries or cities, right? Um, if you need help with that, there is a scouting trip checklist in the description below under more free resources or something like that.
Mhm.
All right. Because look, as far as this discrimination goes, we know Black folks who are living and thriving in Mexico,
Yeah.
Costa Rica,
Panama,
yep,
Ecuador.
Colombia, South Africa.
Our guest is from South Africa.
Yeah, well, yeah, but she's American.
Ghana,
Yeah, Rwanda,
Nigeria,
Thailand,
Malaysia,
France.
France.
Though I'd stay away from Paris. Although I know Black folks who love Paris.
Yeah.
But the Black folks that we know who are French and Black and live here, they ain't feeling it. They ain't feeling it. I'm just gonna tell you. But what we do know is that we do know personally Black folks who live in France and love it.
Yes, we do.
Spain, we got Spain, Italy, UK, Ireland, Portugal, just to name a few.
Now, Spain, they might spray you with water.
That's only in Barcelona. That's only in Barcelona.
Be pissed off, but not if you live there. It's just for the tourists. They just got this thing about tourists.
So look, we understand this is the thing about our community. The thing about our community is we are pragmatic, right? We're pragmatic. That's why they turned around and voted for Andrew Cuomo in New York. That's why they turned around and voted for Biden in 2020 out of South Carolina. We tend to do what is safe because we understand how easily the rug can be pulled out from up under us. So y'all, we get it. But don't let family and society and friends tell you that you got to stay put and put their fears upon you.
Lack of representation, to stick to what's safe, family and society telling Black Americans to stay put. Don't do that.
Yeah. And look, and we also realize that there's, when you look at extensive international travel, digital nomad life, or life abroad, and you look at how many Black folks are showing up in these spaces, especially like on YouTube and things like that. Yeah, we know we are few and far between. There are a lot of us out there, but in comparison to, like, I think a latest statistic said there are 11% of the channels about life abroad or travel are by Black folks, Black Americans. All right. And so we realize that there, sometimes people say you can't do what you don't see people look like you doing. So that is another reason to make sure that you're sharing this content, because what we don't want to do is get caught flat footed. Just like, right? Because we were just talking earlier in our behind the scenes. If you're a member of our Black Utopia, of our YouTube channel, if you are a YouTube channel member of our Black Utopia, like Meriton is, y'all have access to us before this even starts. The discussion starts before we even go live. And we do behind the scenes, right? Yeah. And we were talking about, the fact that in Germany, when the fit was hitting the sham, when in the countryside they were burning human beings, the majority of Germans just went about their daily lives. And it didn't really affect them, right? It didn't really affect them. And so I feel like in America, people are because it's not directly affecting them right now, that they're like frogs in a boiling pot.
And the heat is slowly being turned on.
And they don't feel it.
No.
They don't feel it because the bottom line is the things that are really going to hurt about that badass piece of crap bill that they just passed. We're not going to feel the real pain until like 2030. See, they think they're slick because Americans have short attention span. Don't get complacent. Do not get complacent. Have a backup plan. They are building alligator Auschwitz for a reason. They are trying to build alligator Auschwitz in all of the red states for a reason. They need the stock on private prisons went up, and they need to fill them beds with some bodies, y'all.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna run out of Latinos. They're gonna run out of Latinos, and then what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? So why should you choose to move? And I know that a lot of people watching is like, we already chose, right? So I want you, if you're watching, to chime in. If you are watching in the chat, chime in why you are choosing to leave.
Because so many other places, you get a better quality of life.
Exactly. So if you're watching from the future,
hey,
let us know if you are planning to leave the United States. Let us know why. If you're not from the United States, but you are planning to leave your home country, let us know why. Hey, Benita just became a member. Thank you, Benita.
Hey, Benita.
So we're going to say hello to some of the folks who are in the chat really, really, really fast. And then we will continue on with better quality of life versus staying in the U.S. Hey, Deidre, good to see you.
Hey, Bobby.
Bobby is in the chat. Wanda is in the chat. CK, hey. Gwen and Derek Travels. Yeah, we were having a conversation earlier. We really were, right, Allison?
It'd be some juicy conversation.
Exactly.
Kind of animated.
Right. Hey, Shadora. Hello, I always learn something from the case studies. Looking forward to it. Oh, good. Hey, Dr. Sanji is in the house. Good to see that you made it back okay. Ruth, hey, I don't see the button to donate. So let me see. It should be there. So if you look in the chat, wait, why isn't this muted? Sorry about that, y'all. If you look in the chat, to the right side of the chat, there's a happy face, there's a $sign, that's the donate, and then there's a plus sign, or maybe the plus sign is just for me, and then there's hearts and stuff like that. So you should see all of that. So Ruth, I don't think that you're doing something wrong. If you're on a phone, I'm not sure where it's at. I'm looking on a laptop. Hey, Karen Louise. Peace and blessings.
It's been a while. I haven't seen Karen Louise. She's been traveling.
Well, I've seen her in the comments. So, hace y buenas tardes. Buenas tardes, everyone from Bogota. Yay. How you doing? How's the weather in Bogota? I don't know what hace means. That must be local. I wonder. Let us know. Hey, Stephanie, good to see you. Greta, Midlife Money Moves is in the house. Hey, Octavia. Who else? Of course, we've got Action DJ. We've got Cheryl and Lynn, Tana Rose. Good to see you, Valerina. Good to see you, Timor. K. Renee. D. Marie. Good to see you. We've got
Sylvia.
Where was I? Sylvia. Oops, like that. Deneen. Free, Timor, love being Nubian. Love to see you guys. All right. We're going to keep it moving, and we thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. We really, 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 really do. Okay. You guys know the drill. If you want something put on screen, hey, new live curator, if you want something put on screen, then put a Q in front of it, and we will do our best to answer all of the questions. Obviously, questions from members get answered first. Thank you, Dee Marie. So I'll say this before we get started. All super thanks, super chat, and super sticker money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That's our financial freedom program for late bloomers. All right. And that information is in the description below. We don't need a sob story or anything like that. If you say you need a scholarship, we're going to assume that you can't afford it. And so thank you, Benita. We love you back. All right, why? Look, y'all. I can't tell you how many times we hear that people feel stuck, right? They feel
Oh
stuck
yeah.
in the hustle and the grind. If you feel stuck in the hustle and the grind, let's see some hearts. Um, I remember feeling stuck in the hustle and grind and feeling like we were never going to retire.
Right.
And then we cracked the code. And then we cracked the code and we realized that it really was as simple as grandmama said, right? It really was as simple as grandmama said, but we wanted to make it more confusing and talk about how we understand this and we don't understand that. So, and it's quite simply, we'll talk about it when we get to the case studies. Okay. I'll make a note. All right. Um, we also hear folks saying, why are you guys running away? Why aren't you staying and fighting? Why are you running away? But look, we're running towards a better quality of life,
That's how I see it.
right? I mean, you get a better quality of life. You can get a much better quality of life for less money abroad. And so, where cost of living is lower and lifestyle is less stressful, these are the things that you can count on and what you should be looking for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even like the folks that we talked to from Thailand, who are in that group, we're talking about how they don't feel the racism over there in Bangkok. Their cost of living is
A
so
whole
much
lot
lower,
lower and,
right?
and a whole lot of less stress. Just less stress.
Exactly, because according to the American Psychological Association, nearly 60% of African Americans report higher stress levels than their white counterparts. So, with that, let's start about quality of life and what you can have abroad versus staying in the United States.
So, there's seven major areas when we talk about the quality of life.
Okay.
First one, economic stability. Second one, healthcare. Third, safety and security. Fourth, education. Fifth, environment and sustainability. Six, social connections and community. Seven, housing and living conditions. Eight, working life balance. That's eight.
That's 9.
Nine. Nine is technology and
Yeah, I added some
connectivity.
more and then
Okay,
didn't
I was
change the
like,
other
wait a
part of the
minute, you
script,
didn't
y'all.
change, you
So, income, wealth, and cost of living. You know how to make money. Y'all know how to make money. That's not the problem, right? But the cost of living is harder to control, right? That's the thing that's pretty much out of our control. I mean, you can downsize and downsize and downsize. You can cut back and cut back and cut back. But in the United States, there's only so much control you have over that stuff,
True.
right? And so we want to make sure that when you're thinking about this, you're really taking into consideration bang for the buck. So you want to ask yourself, okay, how much money can I make even working part-time comfortably with less stress? This is after you've saved emergency funds and stuff like that. We'll talk about that. These are the questions you should be asking yourself. Like if you know you get Social Security of 1,500, and then if you rent out your house, the net from that will be 500. Let's just say, so that's $2,000. So I'd be asking myself, where could I live for $2,000?
Right.
Where can I get better access to financial opportunities if that's what I'm looking for, whether it be in investing in local businesses, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Where you can get better opportunities for healthcare.
Exactly. Where are you at?
I'm just saying, going off what you just said.
Well, yeah, but that's the next one.
Okay.
He's skipping ahead. We got a script.
I hear you, and I went off of you.
So, will your dollar stretch further? That's what you want to ask yourself when you're picking a place.
Well, if you get good health, cheap health care, it stretches further.
If I'm taxed more, is it made up for by other benefits? Okay. So, like here in Portugal, yes, the taxes are higher, but we have universal health care. So, what we pay for healthcare right now, including private insurance, is a fraction of what we paid in the United States.
Yeah.
Right. So he wanted to talk about healthcare
and wellness. Do healthcare as a right and not a privilege.
Do they view healthcare as a right and not a privilege?
Do they view mental health as part of overall health?
Do they value and offer opportunities for physically healthy lifestyles, right? Is it walkable? Do they have parks? Do they have open space, et cetera, et cetera? Or do they expect you to work, 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 work? Is that the culture? Even if you're going to retire, is everybody else work, 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 working? And so then they're not providing for these things in shared spaces and free spaces, et cetera, et cetera. So these are the questions you have to ask yourself. And when I think about that and I think about Portugal, right? All I know is I can sit in the park and I can do the exercise machines in the park, et cetera, et cetera. And there's no Karen asking me, what am I doing here? Right? The cops are not coming and asking me, why am I just sitting here?
True.
Right? The neighborhoods have exercise classes and things like that are discounted for residents. They have community pools that you can join at a highly discounted rate, right? These are the things that you can get. In America, when Black people got to use the pools, white people said, well, let's fill the pools up. So that's why America has very few community pools, because white people would rather have nothing than let us participate too. Safety and security.
So there are 65 cities outside of North America where a family of two can live for under $24,000 a year that are 75% to 90% safer than living in a place like New York City.
Did you hear that? There are 65 other cities in the world that two people can live off of $24,000 a year that are 75 to 90% safer than living in New York City. But y'all trying to stay and fight for what now? What we fighting for? You fighting for a place that never wanted you to help a country that's first going to help its white folks. Watch for political stability. All right. So I did mention Bangkok, but I have to say, and if the subscriber that asked this question about Thailand is listening, I did some further research, and I still would visit Thailand all day long. I think it's the bomb. Mm-hmm. But they are going through some political things right now. They have the prime minister is part of a dynasty family in politics there in Thailand, and they have basically did a vote of no confidence, what the Thai equivalent of that is. And so they've gone through, I think, 3 or 4 prime ministers since then in as many days. And so the outside folks are very concerned about the stability of Thailand right now. That sucks because it's a really cool country.
It is a really cool country.
It's a really cool effing country. So hopefully they're going to get it together. Yeah. So watch for that political stability. And by the way, right now, the USA is considered one of the most unstable governments in the world.
Can you believe that?
It's in the top 10, y'all. The United States is in the top 10 most unstable governments in the world.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that wherever you go, their legal system is strong, just, and applied equally. There's no place on earth like that, but one of the least fair is the United States of America when it comes to so-called developed nations.
Right. So, yeah. There's probably not a legal system in the world that is just and applied equally to everybody in there, in the city, community, country, whatever. Because people are people, whether it's classism, colorism, or what have you. But are they known for basically having a good legal system that is applied equally without any crazy stuff? Like I remember way back in the day, it may have been Thailand when they were like caning kids.
Oh, I was going to say they whoop your ass with a cane.
Right, caning kids and stuff like that, yeah, right? I don't think they're doing stuff like that so much anymore, but
I ain't trying to find out either.
Certainly not trying to find out. All right. Number 4, this is about quality of life, social connections, and community. It helps. It helps to me if you blend in. We blend in here in Portugal. It's harder for us to blend in Mexico, right? Like everywhere we go, for the most part, there's a few places we could go and blend in more so. But it's harder not to look like an immigrant. Here in Portugal, we do not look like an immigrant. Uh, excuse me. Not only that,
It also helps if there's already some expats there, and even better if there is a Black expat community.
yeah, be prepared to learn the language. Be prepared to learn the language. So if it's a language that you find really hard, maybe that's not a place you want to live. We don't want to go and be colonizers and act like they're just supposed to know English. I mean, obviously, unless it's an English speaking place.
Yeah. Then you got housing and living conditions.
Right.
You know, are the housing options in line with your vision?
In future life.
Are the options affordable?
Right. And so with those 65 cities that we mentioned earlier, obviously, all of those places have affordable housing. Now, I also looked for quality of life. All of those places had higher quality of life than New York City, and of course, were safer than New York City. So there you go. You got to do your own Googles. If you need access to the databases that we use to do research like this, you can find them in 2 places. One in the Ready to Retire Toolkit, which is in the description below, as well as our Move Abroad Toolkit, again, in the description below. Work-life balance and flexibility. So what's the general culture around work and play? And you think, well, I'm going to retire. What difference does it make? Because it makes a difference on what people are going to be doing, what they're going to be providing. Just like the other thing that we were talking about, what was it? Health and wellness, right? If there is a culture of work-life balance like there is here in Portugal and flexibility, then let's just say you want to get a little local part-time job, right? We know a friend of ours got a little local part-time job, and they told her, number 1, you're working too hard. Number 2, you haven't taken enough vacation days, right? That's the culture here in Portugal.
They made her take
They made her take vacation days, and not like a few either. No, a bunch. And the other thing that I've noticed is like at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, parents are in that park across the street with their kids. They are not at work. They are not at work. They are home. Like the banks here at 3 o'clock, you pick the number because everything here is a number. You got to pull a number for everything. The banks here at 2:30, that's when they give out the last number. Because at 3 o'clock, they're not cleaning up their desks at 3 o'clock. In America, they'd be cleaning up their desks at 3 o'clock. But here in Portugal, they're locking the door at 3:01. They are walking out the door at 3 o'clock. And after everybody else is out, right, somebody's locking that door at 3:01. They are not playing. Playtime is playtime. Playtime is playtime.
Yeah, and the power structure here in America, or there in America.
Yeah, they're in America.
They're in America. You know, they don't approve of poor people having playtime.
I mean, seriously, right? You hear what they're saying. You hear what they're saying. Well, they don't deserve health care if they don't work. Okay, well, I'd like them to find a job for my 83-year-old mother with dementia. Find her a job. These people are crazy, and they punish the poor. You're punished for being poor. Instead of fighting poverty, they're fighting poor people. And so for families that have expectations for school or childcare, if needed, what is the work-life balance? Here in Portugal, they're in school until like 5 o'clock. They have a long day. They have some big breaks in between.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of breaks because I see them kids out there. They get a lot of breaks, but they're in school all day long. And so when the parents pick them up from school, there's really no need for childcare.
No.
Maybe for the little bitty ones, maybe for the nursery school ones, but certainly not for the elementary school or because I see them over here. They get out pretty late too. So it's really interesting And they go later than we do in the United States.
Yes.
They start later than we do in the United States as well. So education and lifelong learning, right? You don't want to come, for all you Black people, this is what is so insidious. This is what is so insidious. Somehow they got members of our community to believe that sounding smart, that reading, that doing your homework, and all of this stuff, that was acting white. Somehow they got our community to believe that nonsense. But here's a question. If reading is so stupid, why did they prohibit us from learning to read for so long? What was his name? The guy says things that make you go, Arsenio Hall.
Oh.
That's right? Arsenio Hall. So no matter where you're going, look, there's going to be educational opportunities no matter where you go. We're lifelong learners. I love to continue learning, whether it is how to crochet or learning a new language, or or learning something that is a little bit more taxing on the brain. But if you have kids, you want to make sure that there are support systems to aid in your goals. International schools, schooling, parents and stuff like that. How are the local schools, etc. Here in Portugal, we know folks who have put their kids in local schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
The international schools and specialty schools like that. And we know people who are doing some kind of world schooling, homeschooling things. So that network is here. It is here. And you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about school shooting drills, right? So when you're trying to make this decision, well, I got to wait till my kids get out of school. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do that? We were talking to somebody earlier who was talking about their kids not wanting to move. I don't know who we were talking to. Their kids not wanting to move, but they wanted to leave. And so here's the thing, like you've got a, say, a 18-year-old and a 16-year-old, and they don't want to leave, but they don't have the money to pay for college. What, we've got to start getting smarter about this, because over here, you can get a 4-year degree for definitely under $10,000 for the whole 4 years. For the whole 4 years. All right. And there's colleges in Germany that are free, UK, low cost, and these are taught in English. The eighth thing is environmental quality. Right. We look, Flint, Michigan, and there's Flint, Michigans all around the United States.
Yeah. So like you got environmental quality.
Right.
Is water clean enough to bathe in?
Right. Not necessarily drink, right? Because even in Mexico, you can't drink the water. Thank you, Carlton, for becoming a member. But you don't want to have to not be able to bathe in it like they couldn't in Flint, Michigan, not be able to cook with it like they couldn't in Flint, Michigan, not be able to brush your teeth with it like they couldn't in Flint, Michigan, right? So is there easy, affordable access to clean water?
Is the pollution negligible?
So I heard, but didn't see, that there's burning season in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Yeah. You don't want to be there during burning.
I wouldn't want to be there during burning season, right? I don't know what they're burning, but whatever it is, I don't want to be inhaling that smoke. I assume that it's like clearing the fields or something like that, right? For rice planting or something like that, I would assume. But I don't know. All I know is I don't want to be smelling no smoke. So we know that in the United States, they are deregulating and allowing for companies to pollute the atmosphere even more, right? I don't know if that AI provision, I think it got taken out, but I'm not sure if that AI provision got taken out. It might not have, which would allow AI stuff not to be regulated state to state, which means that they can build a dirty data center that pollutes without permission.
Yeah.
That's what's happening in the United States. You
kind of want to know what their commitment is to climate change.
Right. Because again, not out of the frying pan into the fire. Now, the earth rotates, right? So unfortunately, the bullshit that the United States is doing is going to affect the rest of the planet. but we want to at least make sure that we're moving to a place that has our values. Their digital infrastructure and connectivity. Do they have a robust internet and cellular network?
Yeah. Is high-speed internet and data plans affordable?
So here, you wouldn't know it by what's happening right now, because one of the reasons why we're about a minute late is because the internet decided to act stupid.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
Gremlins.
when it has been like, we just got the modem replaced and stuff, and it has been fast. We complained after we were offline the other week, and so we got everything replaced, and it has been fast. So our good friend just told us he just got a new contract for high speed data, a landline or house phone, right, which they probably don't use, cable, 2 cell phone data packages, and their whole bill is €60 per month, y'all. €60 per month. All right. So not only do they have, a good infrastructure digitally, but is it affordable?
Yeah.
Because the United States has a decent infrastructure as far as cellular and internet is concerned, but it's not affordable. It is not affordable. And even though some cities have programs for low income people, the people who are in the middle, which is most of you who are watching, you're not poor enough, right? And a good chunk of you are not rich enough, right? It's that, don't get me started. All right.
So another thing that you want to know is, do they have laws to protect your digital information?
Or is it a free for all like it now is in the United States, right? Where 25-year-old kids can just go in with a thumb drive and suck up all your information off of government databases.
In the guise of government.
What's going on, y'all? Personal freedom and autonomy, and this is equally as important. Do you have the legal right to just be you?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Do you have the legal right to just be you?
Does the culture allow for you to be you?
Are you allowed to practice your religion, for instance?
Are there laws against oppression?
Right? Can you love who you want to love? Hello. Can you be whatever gender you choose to be? Hello. And can you be whatever color that you are, right? Without feeling persecuted or oppressed. So those are the things that you need to think about that equals quality of life. And when we look at all 10 of those, because there were actually 10, and I don't know how we had 9 in the other list, but when you look at all 10 of those, you can see clearly, like the majority of those, we have that quality of life here in Portugal. The majority of those, we would have that quality of life in Mexico, and probably a lot of other places that we're on our way to figure out where else we want to get residence.
Right.
Right? All right. Sounds like my sister is here. All right. We're going to transition to the case studies. All right. But before we do, let's make sure that you all don't have any questions. Okay, let's start at the bottom. Environmental changes are affecting water availability, a la Mexico City. Yeah, that's true, right? So here we go again with climate change. And these are the things that, like, it takes everybody. Everybody's got to be participating.
Right.
Right? Yeah, otherwise, it's going, even though your country is trying to do the right things, hair, lashes, and wigs, even though your country is trying to do the right thing, you're still going to get impacted. And so, droughts and things like that, right, can affect water quality. I'm just trying to say, like, we need to, as a community, read a lot more. Right, Carlton? We need to read a lot more. All right. I'm not seeing any questions other than, here's one. Is it difficult to get a job in Portugal? How does it work for expats? Okay, John. So we do not suggest that you come here looking for a job.
No.
All right. The minimum wage here is about $900 a month. Even though the minimum wage hasn't changed in the states since 2008, I think, something like that, $7.85 times 2080. Oh, no, not 2080. Or I could do that. That's probably easier. 7.85 times 2080 equals 16,000 divided by 12. So 1360 is United States minimum wage, 1360. And so, yeah, it's like $400 less for minimum wage. And, 785 is ridiculous. Of course, the cost of living is a lot less here, but it's not so much less that people making that amount can live like I'm sure they want to live. All right. And so even like doctors don't get paid anything more than about, on average, 2,000 euro a month or so. All right. So this is not the place to come and make money. For those of you who are in the side hustle challenge, yeah, we're going to show you how to make money without borders, right? Obviously it's sold out right now, but the community is going to be launched tomorrow. And so for those of you who are already starting working on your side hustle and you just want to be in community with other folks who are going to help you grow your business as you help them grow their business, then look for an email today or tomorrow, not today, tomorrow or the next day about that.
So, John, the best thing probably be to do is to find a remote work.
Exactly.
An American company that you can work with online.
Exactly. Now, if you just want a little something, then yeah, you'd look for a place where they're needing people who speak English, right? The person that we were talking about was at a call center, and she was funneled the people who needed an English speaker. So, there's that opportunity. But if you're talking about real money, that this is not the place, right? Double T, this is not the place. Thank you for becoming a member. All right. This is the last one. I honestly think many African Americans are addicted, for lack of a better word, to the dysfunctional lifestyle in America. Ooh,
it's
Daniel.
It's time to leave that addiction.
Daniel's coming hard. They simply cannot imagine a different or better way of life.
And that's so
What do you
true.
think about what Daniel is saying? I think he might be onto something.
I think he is onto something.
Sometimes we get addicted to just what we know, right? We're so filled with fear. We're so filled with fear. Right? And so Carlos says, as long as you keep your right to vote, we vote.
We vote.
Now, hopefully it's getting counted. That's the thing. Do we still have free and fair elections? That's the question I want to know.
I know Colorado counts it.
I know Colorado counts it too, because I know who our people are. Our Secretary of State.
Yeah, we don't miss elections. We do vote.
Yeah, we vote. And we suggest that you do too. All right. We're going to go on to the case studies to show you three different financial situations. Hopefully those of you where money is a thing can find yourself in these situations. Are there situations where people can share rent for a year? So yeah, Margaret, there are. So what you want to do is get in the expat Facebook groups for the cities or country where you want to move to, and then put it out there. There are always people looking to do co-living, right? And there are opportunities to just rent a room from a local family. That exists as well. So do your Googles, y'all. Do your Googles, and I love the fact that she's being creative, right? Because there's more than one way to skin a cat. See, this is the thing. Are they going to say national emergency? Oh, we've got to skip the 2026 elections. We'll just do it in 2027. What are they going to do? Sorry about that. Okay, Allison, I got to put this up. I know that my daughter is scared to make that move. I get it. So we're going over first, and I pray that she will come around. I pray that she does too. I pray that she does too, and pays attention to what is going on there. All right. With this, now we're going to get into some crowdsourcing, y'all. All right. We're going to get into some crowdsourcing. We're going to put the first one up, and we're going to go over, and then we're going to give you our suggestions. But we want to hear your suggestions as well. And I don't know, Ellie, I have not, Lee, I don't know if it's Ellie Sanders. I haven't heard about the protests in Mexico. So, yeah. Have you heard about protests in Mexico?
No, and we haven't heard anything from Lamar and Angela.
Mm-mm.
Check it out.
It's time to go, y'all. Excuse me. It's time to go. It is time to go. All right. You guys have seen these pictures before, but the information is different. All right. This is Khadijah and Connie Cashpour. So they're 45 years old-ish with good salary, but no cash flow, sitting on a valuable home worth $500,000 with a mortgage of $200,000. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. So they have $300,000 equity. You want to read the rest?
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, it's right there too.
Oh, so the income is $100,000 annually, but they have low savings, less than $5,000, and minimal retirement savings.
So they owe that $200,000 in a mortgage. They want to downsize and move abroad to lower cost of living, but struggle to save for the transition. Okay.
Suggestion would be consider selling their home to unlock equity and downsize, creating more liquid assets to travel or invest in income generating properties abroad.
Yeah. Now, if Kamala had gotten elected, I would have said to do one of two things. I would have said either borrow against that house and buy a multifamily home
Yeah.
with an FHA loan and move into one of the units in a multifamily home, rent out the house that's worth 500,000, rent that out, and then rent out the other ones as well. And maybe take out a little bit more out of that house, depending upon how much rent you can get for it, as an emergency fund, like a good solid 1 year's worth of living expenses emergency fund. Thank you, Ro Wiley, for becoming a member. That's what I would do with the house had Kamala won. Now, with this person in office, I could see him start snatching property from folks. Now, if you're keeping your head down and stuff like that, will that happen? Probably not. But still, I don't know. I wouldn't.
What makes you think he's going to do that?
Because it's all about the grift. It's all about the grift. I really do believe that. Like anybody who speaks out, he's going to start seizing properties, seizing assets. Right now, they're doing it against the bad hombres, right? Like you can just be accused of dealing drugs and they can seize all of your assets. And then it takes years and years and years. Ain't nobody sold nothing, right? But it takes years and years and years for you to get those assets back, right? That's called lawfare. And they're already doing it to people who don't have a voice. But if there's no law and order, and there is no law and order when the people who are making the laws do not have to follow the laws.
True. Very true.
So anything is possible. So that's why I would suggest selling as well. What do you guys think? We tell them to geo arbitrage if they have a way to bring in extra money, if they are netting enough from the rental of the house. No, 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 no. From oh, we're different scenario. I've gone back. I've gone back to my if Kamala won. If Kamala won, yeah. So they're gonna have $300,000. Now let me do the math. They're gonna have $300,000, y'all. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what the formula is. We told people we cracked the code, right? Let me tell you what the formula is. Okay, so I'm going to take $300,000, and then I'm going to divide that by 25. So that's $12,000. All right. So that means they need to find another $12,000 a year minimum, and they could live off of $24,000 a year, right? Because we just said 64 cities, and I looked down the list. I would live in some of those cities. Some of those cities are in Spain. Some of those cities were they were all over the world. Okay, and so they could spend with their $300,000 invested, and I'm just going to say in the United States right now, here's the formula. We're going to see how this lasts. But anyway, so y'all see that. I took the $300,000, I divided it by 25. That gives us $12,000 a year that they can withdraw without running out of money. If they withdraw lower, even better. If they can bring in $12,000 a month from, I mean 12,000, $1,000 a month from other sources. Who can't make $1,000 a month? Come on. Come on. You can get little temporary work call center jobs and bring in $1,000 a month, right? There's nobody on this call who cannot do that. So, so the income will not continue unless they go remote. So that is the retired. So that was CK's question. I'm sorry. Let me put that up. Will the $100,000 income continue abroad? If the $100,000 income, if they're going to be remote workers, then and they can continue making that $100,000, and the only debt that they have is their mortgage, but they have no cash saved. Sell the house, take the $300,000. There's your savings, and go, and y'all living large. But if the job is not potable and they have to start figuring out where the money's going to come from, then yes, $1,000 a month is what they would have to figure out. Now, I'm sure everybody watching can figure that out, right? Figure out how to bring in $1,000 a month if you were in this situation. So look at the assets around you. Look at the assets around you. And I'm telling you, I would sell that house in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat to get out. Especially, yeah. Had we known what was coming when we moved, that house in Denver would have been sold. The house in Denver would have been sold. Okay, before we move on, let's see if
I see a lot of sales.
Sell. Okay. So this person asked, do you have the list of the 65 cities? I'm concerned for my biracial grandson. I don't have the list of 65 cities, but what I did is I told you that the databases are in our Ready to Retire toolkit. The links are in the Ready to Retire toolkit, which is free, and the Move Abroad toolkit. And so I just put in the criteria, $2,000 a month for two people living city center, one bedroom. This is the search. And I put low crime, and that was it. And then I took out North America. So that would take out Canada, United States, and Mexico, and maybe Central America. That's probably why. Yeah, Central America. So then it only included everything else. So South America, Oceania, Africa, Asia, Europe, right? And 65 cities came up. All right. And so you do your own search, put in your own criteria. You might have more things like tolerance for biracial, right, or for folks who don't look like the majority of the people there. There is a filter for that. All right. And so that may be something that you'd want to do. For folks who missed the Side Hustle Challenge registration, will there be a wait list? Will it be offered again this year? I don't know. I don't know, y'all, because we extended it to 10 weeks. And so it's going to go all the way through to
September,
September.
yeah.
And then we're going to be out of town. And then it's the holidays. So I don't know. The community will be available. And there is a side hustle module in Beyond the Bling. I don't know if that helps. All right. Taxes and insurance is making it much more challenging to own property for the foreseeable future in the US. Um, yeah, insurance is a bear, right? Especially in the places that have had a lot of climate change stuff. So in Colorado,
Colorado, yeah.
insurance, I was like, what the hell? Our mortgage went up by like $900 because of the insurance, because we have a fixed mortgage. So because of the insurance, I was like, how did this happen? And what we didn't realize is it had gone up last year, but the insurance, but the mortgage company hadn't raised our escrow, so we weren't aware. But once I looked and I was like, well, wait a minute, it's how much? We're paying how much? Oh, hell no. And I remember we were with Allstate, and Allstate did the same thing to us. They did the same thing, creep, 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 until even the mortgage company said, you're paying a lot for your insurance. So the hailstorms in Colorado
Mm,
have made the insurance in Colorado ridiculous.
ridiculous.
And then taxes, um, that just depends on the city. If you have a city that likes to fund schools and wants to make sure they have enough firefighters and things like that, you're going to have some property taxes, because that's what funds schools. But and when you move abroad, like if you're renting, then I would assume that the costs for the property taxes are absorbed in the
Mm.
rent, right? Okay, I think I've got them all. So I'm going to continue on. Let's just make sure. Yep. All right. So let's go to the next one. I know that's right. See, I'm not supposed to be, I'm just all up in your guys' conversation. Yahoo. Yeah. All of them. Zelensky, I don't know that Zelensky has done any crimes, but I know Yahoo did some crimes. Homeboy, who is in charge of Hungary, has done some crimes, and of course, y'all's president, the melon felon, has done some crimes. That's why they want to try to keep their butts in there, because they know they're going to jail if they leave. All right, here we go. Patricia, paycheck to paycheck. All right.
Paycheck to paycheck, looking for a side hustle.
So 50-year-old living paycheck to paycheck with 3,000 in savings and no retirement savings.
Income is 60,000 annually, but struggling to make ends meet. Currently looking for a second job or a freelance gig.
She wants to travel to experience different cultures and live abroad, but financial stability feels out of reach.
Suggestion: focus on increasing income streams through freelancing, side jobs, and cutting unnecessary expenses. Prioritize creating a travel fund and work on your emergency savings.
So for those of you who can freelance, this may be, and especially for those who missed the side hustle challenge, this may be a way to increase your revenue quickly on your own terms, right? So you're doing your job. If you don't have a non-compete or something like that, or maybe you're doing something a little bit different or with a different industry, freelancing is a good way to bring in some extra coins with the skills that you already have, right? So if you are a project manager at your job, right, and there is and you put your project management skills to work, you can go on Fiverr or someplace like that. Google places where freelancers can find jobs. All right. Upwork or something like that is one of them. Fiverr is another one. And I'm sure that there are others, right? And you can get, you know, freelance jobs, freelance projects. Maybe you've got the network and you don't have to go on these boards, right? and you can get a project here or there that where they will allow you to get the project done by a certain amount of time or have these milestones, but you're not having to check in every day, et cetera, et cetera. And you can do it on the weekend or when you want to. So let me just mark that. And so freelancing and gig work and stuff like that is a quick way. Those things are not sustainable. Okay. So I don't want you to think of that as your side hustle unless when you retire, you're going to retire from doing everything.
Right.
And you don't plan on the freelancing being your side hustle. Why do I say that? Because we don't want you trading your time for money. We don't want you trading your time for money. All right. And all of you at this point in your life have enough knowledge to create things that can make money for you. And while you're at the beach, it could be making money for you. All right. $60,000 annually, but struggling to make ends meet. Currently looking for a second job or freelancing gigs. And so CK says, living to save funds and co-living to save funds and invest. I would definitely suggest that, right? Thus, no additional work needed. Unless she wants to speed up, right? Like, maybe it's both. Maybe it's and, not or, right? If she wants to speed up and get out within the year, let's just say, maybe she does both. But definitely the biggest expense that all of you probably have,
your mortgage or your rent.
Exactly. Your mortgage or your rent. And so, wait, how come they can't see you, sweetheart? Scoot over this way.
We got that over.
Yeah, scoot over this way.
Go so
yeah, there you go. So yeah, if you can co-live, if you can house hack, if you can do house sitting and just give up mortgages and rents altogether, if you can do that, these are all things to bring down those costs so that more money can go into your retirement savings, more money can go into your emergency fund, more money can go into your FU fund, more money can go into your travel fund, right? If she is willing to be nomadic and she can work 100% or mostly remotely, there may be an opportunity to get out sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
So if she can take her gig on the road, then obviously going to a lower cost of living is going to help as well.
It's going to help a whole lot
to save that money. All right, and so the biggest thing is the debt. If you don't have a lot of debt, it's going to make life a lot easier for you. And we're not considering anything that can be sold to pay off the debt, like a mortgage, right? We don't consider that debt because you can sell the house and the debt's gone. If you have a car and it's not upside down, then we don't consider that either because you can pay the car and pay off your loan or sell the car and pay off your loan, right? And so as long as you're not upside down, you don't have to consider those. But credit card debt, you've got to get rid of it. You've got to get rid of it. All right. So research countries with digital nomad visas and lower cost of living that align with their current budget, right? Like we said, and 42% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 40% of Black Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And that's not a good thing. So if you are living paycheck to paycheck, the first thing is to go through your expenses and see where you can cut. Okay. If you make $60,000 a year, that's not bad money. That's not great money, right? We know, because incomes haven't been going up, but there is still an opportunity for you to get to financial freedom. Don't think that I'm only making $60,000 a year and there's no way to do it. For the majority of my career, I made about $60,000 a year. Right? Now, of course, there were two of us, but with one of us, there still would have been less expenses as well. Right? Right?
Well, like we said earlier, you're going to have to sacrifice. So you're going to have to But a lot of those wants, not
All
one,
of them,
well,
because that's not
not one
sustainable.
hundred percent, but
Yeah.
you got to put the majority of your wants to the side in order to take care of your needs and to obtain the things that you want to get down the line,
Yeah.
and that's getting financial security and being able to do different things.
Right.
But
Right.
you
Right.
got to
Right.
give up something.
Yeah. And you got to invest in future you,
Yes.
right? To invest in future you. All right. So, anything else that we wanted to say about that? I don't think so. All right. Let's see what you say. I don't think I saw anything besides CK's and, um, oh, Octavia agrees with CK. Yep. 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 Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
Good to see you in the chat. Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you for the super chat. We so appreciate you. Have you heard about the protests in Mexico City because of gentrification by mostly Americans migrating there? Oh my gosh, I haven't even heard Rashida mention it. They've driven up the cost of living. Yep, housing is, well, see, and that's the thing. They're blaming the wrong people. They've driven up the cost of living. Housing is 47% up. Mexicans are being priced out of their own neighborhoods. Here, like, okay, let's think about this. Okay, let's just say that 10,000 people from other parts of Mexico within the next 3 years or the last 3 years moved to Mexico City. Would they say they were driving up the cost? Would they? Because we know people are moving from smaller towns to cities all around the world, right? We know that. So if the people moving looked like the people who already lived there, would they be saying the same thing if they spoke the same language?
Probably not.
Probably not. Even though the rents could still be just as high. Why wouldn't they? See, because they're blaming the wrong people. The Americans can't tell them what to charge, and the Americans don't want to pay those prices. But if the landlords are the ones who are driving up the prices. The landlords are the ones driving up the prices, not the people who are trying to get the rent, right? So obviously there's some supply and demand issues. We know that. There's always going to be supply and demand issues. But you got to blame the people who have the power.
Yeah.
Not the people who don't have the power.
Yeah, they're the ones that set the rules of the game.
Right? Like, so no, I have not heard about that. And I just talked to Angela Lamar in Querétaro on Tuesday. So whatever is happening has not hit Querétaro. Should you already be drawing on your pension and Social Security when applying for the Portugal D7 retirement visa? No, you don't have to be. What you will have to do is prove that you're going to get it, right? So whatever proof, like the letter that the Social Security office that you can download
it from the
Social
site.
Security. I'm sure your pension, if it's government especially, is going to have some kind of letter saying what you're going to get. That is enough for the application. Oh, yeah. So what we are talking about is not people necessarily moving to Portugal. You want to check, look, you guys, don't do your Googles. If you sell your property before you become a tax resident of Portugal, that's not a big deal. But if you sell your house after you're here, there could be some tax implications, okay? And there could be some tax implications no matter where you're going. So if you become a tax resident, if you are a digital nomad and you're just bopping around on a tourist visa for 3 months here, 3 months there, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're seeking residency someplace, and y'all, I suggest that you get legal residency somewhere, even if you want to bop around. If you want to bop around, there's Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, those three, at least I know you only have to check in a maximum of once a year. Okay. Some with none, some every 2 years, all right. And I'm sure those three are not the only ones. Get residency. With the melon felon doing the things that he's doing, you want to have residency somewhere, especially if another pandemic breaks out or something like that. But yeah, if you bop around, then things are a lot different when it comes to taxes. It's interesting because Um, Halisi's right. The government is monopolizing off the urgency of expatting, but it's not the expat that is driving up the cost. It's the people in the country. I mean, that's the case here in Portugal too,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't have to charge that much. Now, if they have to charge that much to break even, then that's another discussion, right? That's another discussion. But we're assuming that these people have owned their properties long enough that they're not just breaking even and having to charge these prices just to break even, right? That's the assumption. So, all right, let's move on. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Doug.
thank you for the super sticker. We so appreciate it. Um, I think this issue with Mexico City is white Americans driving up the prices or American companies owning properties in Mexico and charging American prices. That could
Yeah,
be,
that's all on Mexico.
right?
The government and the landowners or apartment owners. Or,
Yeah. I mean, some of them view black people in Mexico as gringos, right? Like when I first started with my tutor, she's like, yeah, all y'all are gringos. She now sees the difference in how we move through the world and she understands why I don't like being called a gringo. Some Mexicans do see how black people move through the world and don't look at us the same. Some Mexicans are like, some people in Mexico, some Mexicans are just like, y'all, all you English speakers are assholes, right? But there are some, and we've talked to them, who do view us differently, Black Americans. Yes, you can download a 401k statement for a D7 application visa. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to mark these last comments, and let's go to the last one. Sarah and Sam Spender. There's always got to be a Sarah and Sam Spender. There we go. Case study number 3. All right. So, background.
A married couple with $200,000 combined income, but $200,000 in expenses.
So, for all of you who are complaining because you don't make enough, realize that there are folks out there who make a lot of money and spend a lot of money. So, it's not necessarily how much you make, it's also how much you spend. And for those of you who are new, you might not know, but Rick and I, when we looked at our money back in 2017, because I think it was before, 2017, 2018, something like that. Yeah, because it was before Dad came. So the first time when we really started trying to eliminate debt, it might have been as far back as like 2015, 2016, y'all, when the first time that we looked and we realized we were spending $1,000 a month just eating out, not groceries, not including groceries and Costco runs and stuff like that. That was just restaurants. We didn't have it like that. We did not have it like that. Like I said, for the majority of my career, I made about a 60,000. We did not have it like that. Master's degree and all. Master's degree didn't make shit. It did. It did. We got titles, but no money, right? Titles and no money.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So they had $75,000 in student loans and nearly the same in credit card debt.
All right. So the goal is they want to retire as early and move abroad, but feel trapped by their debt. Now, for those of you who are in this situation where there doesn't seem to be any extra money coming in, and it's like, okay, well, I can eliminate, cable and this and that. So now instead of my expenses being $200,000 a month, they're $199,000 a month, right? Or a year. So we did a video on how to eliminate credit card debt, even when you don't have extra money to throw towards it. All right. After this, perhaps we'll go ahead and put a link in the description below, and maybe I'll remember to put a link right here, right there, somewhere, somewhere. So, but I'll definitely put a link to the credit card video after this. All right. So if you're watching from the future, it should already be down there. Hey, y'all from the future. Okay, I'm going to mark these questions as we see them. So, yeah, making a lot of money does not mean that you're going to get to financial independence sooner, right?
Yeah.
If you're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, the student loans, the student loans, the student loans, the student loans, the student loans. Okay, this is what I would do. I'm going to say, first, let's get rid of that credit card debt. Let's get rid of that credit card debt. Now, some of that money from that you were paying for the credit, now that you're not having to make those payments, the money can be then transferred over to the student loans. I would treat private student loans differently than I would treat public student loans. Public student loans in the year of the melon felon, I would give priority to, because I can see him start to um, take tax returns, garner Social Security checks. Yes, you're talking about garnishing Social Security
Hmm.
check. Just the idea of a student loan and a Social Security check in the same sentence when you're talking about your own student loan sounds crazy and asinine, and that's why America is failing. That's why it's failing. But I would give priority to a public student loan before I gave priority to a private student loan, because private companies have to take you to court and stuff before they can garnish. The government doesn't. They just
No.
start doing that shit.
Hmm.
They just start doing that shit, right? Um, so once you get on a student loan program, and I would try for the smallest payment absolutely possible, then they can start upping their investments,
Yeah.
right? Start upping their investments and really start to get on the road to FIRE, financial independence, retire early, FIRE, right? That's when they really can get on that road. And really, student loans notwithstanding, the other thing that I would do if I were in their situation is they're going to have to downsize or house hack, right? So if they've got a basement, let's start Airbnb-ing it. If they don't have kids, maybe bring in somebody to rent out a room or rent out the basement. Or
Hmm.
if you've got a guest, you see what I'm saying? There's got to be a way to lower those expenses. If they have cars that are not upside down, sell them, get cheaper things. If they have cars with leases, because when you're making 200,000, you want to be driving the
Oh yeah, you
BMW
got to
and all that
show you
stuff,
living large.
right? Right. And that's how you get tied to working until you die, by trying to keep up with the Joneses. Y'all know that. We haven't talked about the Joneses in a while, right? Because we done broke up with the Joneses a long time
We
ago.
wrote them off a while ago.
Right? But other people are still trying to keep
Jones is gone.
Sarah and Sam are still trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Jones is gone.
They try to keep up with the Joneses. So Jones is gone for our life. They know. They know. 37% of US households are carrying credit card debt of more than $5,300 a month. I mean, per household. So the average household has more than $5,300 worth of credit card debt. And I'm telling you, if Sam and Sarah Spender only had 5,300 in credit card debt as opposed to 75,000 in credit card debt, 75,000 in credit card debt, they'd be in a different story. But we know cases like this. We have had clients call us, y'all, and they were bringing in crazy money like this, and they had like crazy debt like this,
Hmm.
okay? So these are not these are not uh, situations that we just pulled out of the air. These are real
Oh
situations.
yeah.
So if this is your situation, the first thing is getting rid of that credit card debt. If you don't have extra money, look at the video that we did on how to eliminate credit card debt without extra money. And then once that is being lowered and you've got that under control, you want to lower those expenses and start house hacking. We're going to be shutting off subscriptions. We're going to be canceling the Amazon, canceling the Prime. We're going to be unsubscribing to all of those emails that you get in your inbox talking about there's a sale at Nordstrom's and there's a sale at Coach and there's a sale at Nike.
Anything you got a weakness for,
right? Turn them all off.
Turn them off.
Delete the credit cards from your computer so that when it comes up to pay, you actually got to go get your credit card and enter it in by scratch as opposed to having it memorize it for you. All right. All of these things can get you to stop spending by making you stop, think about what you're doing before you spend. All right.
Yeah. Know what's making you spend.
Yeah.
Are you buying those new outfits because you want to make sure to make somebody look at you that you don't even like?
You know the stories. I remember. I'm going to repeat this for the newbies because this was my aha moment. I got a dress made, and unfortunately, for an event that happened was going to happen, and then COVID happened. So I never got to wear the dress. To this day, I've never gotten to wear that dress. And it's a formal dress that I got made. It's African print and this and that and the other. And when I tried it on and I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself, I said, I bet you old so-and-so won't say she saw me in this dress last year. Really? Really, Halisi? Really? You just did measurements, went all the way to Africa to get something made so that so-and-so who you can't stand
the person,
won't say, oh, that's cute. You were wearing that last year, right? Yeah, Home Chick said that to me one year. And I made financial decisions based upon someone that I do not like. You see how insidious it is. This is the Americanism in operation, the American culture in operation, and it's BS.
But it happens, y'all. Y'all know it. Somewhere down the line.
It happens.
Yeah.
Right?
I gotta get that car because everybody gonna look at me.
Exactly.
Because it shows my value. And it don't mean nothing because you only drive it what?
10% of the time.
10% of the time?
10% of the time.
Sits in the garage more than it does on the road.
Exactly. So student loans will require repayment under this new, exactly, right? That's why I said we have to start prioritizing public loans. If you were listening to one of my diatribes last year, I would have been saying the opposite, perhaps, right? Because Biden was still trying to, put moratoriums on things, but them days are over because, Hillary's emails and they didn't want to vote for the black woman or something. I don't know.
They like the Joneses. They gone.
I don't know.
The moratoriums is gone.
I didn't know that, Abdul. Did I know that? Congratulations. I want to hear all about Nigeria. I follow this other YouTuber who's living in Nigeria and doing all of these things. And so, yeah, I definitely want to hear about that. You got to come on the channel. Abdul.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you got to come on the channel. We want to hear about Nigeria, even if it's just semi-retirement. Okay, so Laura suggests they eliminate streaming services like Amazon and other subscriptions, right? Before you know it, you're like, oh, this is cheaper. Oh, this is cheaper. And a little bit of Hulu. And then I got some Disney Plus and I got Prime and I got this and I got that. And the next thing you know, you've paid double what you were paying for your cable bill. Right? It's so easy to do because when you just look at it, it's like, oh, it's only $9.99. Oh, it's only $11.99. And then, of course, it's creeping up by $1 every year, but you haven't noticed that because, oh, it's just $12.99. Oh, it's just $13.99 times 5, times 6, times 7 different streaming services. Be careful, y'all. It's real easy to do. It's real easy to do. They can't garnish nothing for me because I don't make nothing for them to garnish. My payment was zero, you guys. It was zero. And so I don't know how we're gonna work this out, but I have paid enough. I have paid enough. So I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna find that loophole. There's always a loophole. The rich people know about the loopholes. I want to find that loophole. If I have to read every word of that damn piece of legislation myself, I'm finding that loophole. And when I find it, I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know. There's no longer a lower monthly payment. I know, Greta, we went through all of this. Mm-hmm. We told you guys last Sunday, if this passes, what was going to happen? What was going to happen with student loans? Well, it passed, and all that shit we said, the bill did not change, because if it changed, they would have had to send it back to the Senate again. And that would have made Daddy Melonfelon very unhappy. And we can't make Daddy Melonfelon unhappy. Otherwise, he will sick his Proud Boys and stuff on your family. This is what's going on in the United States. This is why Congress is so inept, because they're scared. To me, it's like, you make a lot of money. Hire a damn security and vote the right way, or get the fuck out the job. Somebody's got to stand up. I limited the amount of student loans I borrowed to the amount that I thought I could pay back in a reasonable amount of time. When I got to that limit, I stopped borrowing. Right? Right? Unfortunately, I borrowed this money so long ago. I borrowed this money in 2006, y'all. I've been paying this off for almost 20 years. Yeah, almost 20 years. Look, they ain't getting too much more out of me. I don't know. I'm finding that loophole. I think that grocery shopping every other day results in spending less on food and groceries. It's a huge savings and reduces waste. CK might be into something. We waste a lot less here than we wasted in the United States. And we have a smaller refrigerator, and the fruitateria guy is just 3 things away. And when you buy it, you pretty much have to eat it that week, if not sooner. Like after this, I'm probably going to have to go finish that watermelon that we bought. So, all right, y'all, I think we did it. We'll answer the last of your questions and we'll get out of here. I would be wearing the hell out of that dress, even if I just, it was just
be wearing it
around
the house, cleaning up.
Right? Look, the dress is coming back out for a special occasion, and then it will be worn everywhere. But it's got to be refitted and everything like that, because my body has changed since then. But it is definitely going to be used, and it is here. I did bring it here. We need to recognize excess and then reduce excess living to save funds, right? We are robotic about excess living. We had so much shit in our house, you guys. We had so much stuff. Go back and watch those early videos. I watch my friends try to get me to spend my money, and I don't fall for it. My eye is on the prize and Strubal. All right, Allison, right? Like once you know, and you've got in your mind what that vision is, I'm telling you guys, I had a shoe addiction, and which was not even half as bad as his shoe addiction. Now he's going to say he didn't have one, but he had more shoes than I did, y'all.
Yeah, but
he had more shoes than I did.
You're talking about tennis shoes?
Yeah, but right.
Because I didn't buy dress shoes.
But anyway, once we decided that we were moving here, and once we decided that we wanted to retire early, we could go buy Nordstrom's, and it did not mean a thing. If I felt a craving to buy, I would go online and spend money on another piece of stock.
But I didn't shop at Nordstrom either.
I would buy another pair of stock. That's what I would do. And I would get that thrill. Ooh, I would get that thrill. We own more stock. We own more shares. So yeah. And that's fine. And now, and living here, hit the like button. If this information is interesting, y'all, please hit the like button. If you can support this channel financially, become a member. We hang out before this and behind the scenes, and we chitty chat. Those who go to the legend level also get an opportunity to come on air with us every other Thursday, chat with us online, talk about what's going on, ask questions, etc. But if you can't afford to do any of that, that's fine. You can still support it by liking and subscribing.
Yes.
Right? And we appreciate that. And that goes a long way to letting YouTube know that this is information that needs to be shared. So we really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Lady Srita. We appreciate it. Maria Paulo. I'm not saying who is asking. I'm not sure what you're saying, and I'm not sure if I'm reading Portuguese or Spanish. Ain't that a damn shame? I sometimes I don't. I just read it and I don't know what I'm reading. I don't know if I'm reading Portuguese or Spanish. I understand what the translation is in my head, but sometimes I forget. We see both of them so much now. Don't forget what you pay for cloud storage. Oh yeah. Now, I'm sorry, y'all. For us, that's part of our business. So you can write it off. All right. And so remember, if you are freelancing, if you are side hustling, some of these things you can write off. Some of these things you can write off. But if you need to save cash, writing off is not going to help you. All right. If you need to save cash. Benita, you are so fortunate.
Yes.
You are so fortunate. Oh my gosh. I wish. We should read The Big Beautiful Bill like book club selection. You got that right, High Vibe. You got that right, because it is going to affect all of us. It's going to affect all of us. All right. Have had my passport ready for 2 years. All right, Queen Diva. Time to make that move. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions. Oh, Karen Louise. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much, y'all. Every single dime of this money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That's our financial freedom program for late bloomers like Rick and I. Everything that we learned to go from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth is in this program. You get a community of folks to support you, and it comes with monthly group coaching. If you need a scholarship, just send us an email, hello@ourblackutopia.com. You don't have to give us a reason why or a sob story. No. We are going to take you at face value. Here in the Utopian family, we come with integrity, right? So if you say you need a scholarship, we're going to believe that you can afford it and that you need the scholarship. So let's see what Karen Louise is saying. I understand Dennis's previous comments about Mexico. However, we must remember to not let distractions, aberrations or outliers hold us back from going forward to move abroad. That's right. So our OBU community must pay it forward whenever possible to help Halisi and Rick's superb quest to help us all. Oh my gosh. See, I got makeup on. Don't make me cry. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. And it's interesting because even YouTube recognizes that Karen Louise is a special person in our community and always shouts her out as someone who gets the most heart likes and stuff like that. She is really, and she participated into the Move Abroad, Move to Portugal virtual summit. And what you see here and the genuineness and just the pure of heart is what is shown through the camera, because we haven't seen her in person, through the camera on our Zooms, right? And so we love you and we appreciate you, Karen Louise. We really, really do.
Thank you.
And
so
she's
much,
one of the OGs. Action VJ is one of the OGs. Y'all been around. Greta is one of the OGs, right? CK. They have been around from the early days, y'all, when we just had a few hundred subscribers. All right, I accidentally did something. What did I do? What are subreddits? I don't know, unless you mean Reddit. Unless you mean on
that's
Reddit.
On Reddit.
Is debt elimination partnership a thing? I haven't heard of it. Have you guys heard of it?
Debt elimination partnership?
Mm-mm.
Hey, Maria.
Thank you for becoming a member. Yes, welcome to the Utopian family. Yes, people do pay for cloud storage in the United States, Paolo. Um, we were talking earlier on the Side Hustle Challenge that every single one of my email addresses has a Google Drive account, which comes with 15 or so gigabytes of free cloud storage. So I start there. But for my precious things, I do pay.
Mhm.
I do pay. So, all right. We're trying to wrap it up here, but want to make sure that we have answered all of your questions. Let me make sure I see. Can you write off your rent as a freelancer in Gozi? You can rent off the space that you use in the United States. Okay. You can rent off the space that you use.
You mean write off?
For your office.
Right.
You can write that off.
Right.
And so for us here in Portugal, we write off this space on our American tax returns, even though we have to file here too. But so we never pay in the United States. If we owe, we pay here, but we start in the United States by showing them that we ain't got no money. We ain't got no money. We got all these expenses and we ain't got no money. So,
Dr. Greer.
Hey, Dr. Greer, good to see you. All right, I'm looking for the last questions. Let me go under the. I'm gonna star, and then I'll go under the starred, and then we will let you go. Okay, I see you, LaRonda. All right, that's it. All right, let's see. Okay, so we've got we show Benita, and I think we missed this one, Dee Marie. I think we missed this one. Thank you. Yes, and we missed this one as well. Ruth, thank you.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Ruth.
We so appreciate it. Again, all this money goes to our scholarship fund, you guys.
Double T, new member.
Double T, new member. All of this money goes to our scholarship fund. So send us an email if you want a scholarship. We said hello to Carlton. We really appreciate you. How do you maintain your state residency even if you have different mailing address? How do you? Mm-hmm. Where are you registered? Where do you have your driver's license? Where are you registered to vote? But you've got to check out every state and what they require to consider you a resident. You need to do your Googles, okay? But I know that those two things will probably be on the list: driver's license and register to vote, okay? So you need a mailing address. You need an address in your state of residency. Right? It doesn't have to be the mailing address, but it has to be a mailing address because they're going to need to know where to send your ballot, quote unquote, and or what district you vote in. Okay, so you need that. All right. Thank you again, Ro, for becoming a member. You guys, when you become a member, look for the posts on YouTube. So we do posts that are just for members and only you guys can see them. And that will give you the links to our private Zoom calls and all of that stuff. And for backstage. Okay, we did that one. We said thank you to Dennis. And we said thank you to Doug. All right, LaRonda, I get annoyed when people say foreigners are driving up housing costs. Locals are setting the prices. Exactly. Yes. And those who don't know the market overpay. That's the problem. That indeed is the problem. Thank you, LaRonda. See, and that's why we say you need to really do your research and make sure you're not overpaying. So for instance, Rick and I got fortunate. Our landlord sent us the lease from the people right before us. Right. So we saw what they were paying, and we saw that he was charging us just €200 more, and the lease was 3 years old. So to me, that if those Portuguese sounding names on that lease were paying, $200 less than we were 3 years prior, to me, it sounds like we're paying an average local price. Right. And so we were really intentional about that.
Right.
We were really intentional about that. Now, we do know some local landlords, like our friend Twana, a friend of the channel, right? And she was in a 6-month lease because back in those days, you didn't have to have a 1-year lease. So she had a 6-month lease. And then at the end of 6 months, he wanted to jack up her rent by €400. €400. She's like, goodbye and good luck. Goodbye and good luck.
Yeah, she
And
wouldn't
it
have
was
it.
it was a teeny weeny apartment. Teeny weeny. As a matter of fact, the second bedroom, all the only thing that could fit in there was some bunk beds. And then she had her luggage stored on the beds. And maybe the kitty litter was in there or something. That was it. And he wanted to raise rent. So yeah. I often, and the Americans do the same thing, right? MAGA does the same thing. Americans do the same thing. And MAGA's whole thing is the reason why they're poor and have effed up lives is because of brown people and trans people, right? The reason why housing is so high is because of immigrants and trans people. The reason why eggs are so high is because of immigrants and trans people.
Somebody's got to be the boogeyman.
As opposed to the real people, the oligarchs and the government, right? Here in Portugal, I don't want to criticize the house, the owner of the house or the guest that I'm a guest in, right? But there is a way to put guardrails around things when you are inspiring people to move to a place, right? And they know that, right? They know that. They know that they could have put guardrails, that they could have said, we are only going to allow 10% or 5% Airbnbs within each zip code or whatever, right? Whatever they felt that the market could bear without putting such a strain on the locals. They could have done that, but they didn't. And so locals want to blame immigrants when their government really is to blame. So I agree with you, and they might have put some guardrails around here in Portugal, but I know that they obviously haven't done enough because the people are upset. I have 10,000 in student loans and would like to migrate. What advice would you give? Migrate to a place where you can afford to pay off that student loan debt as fast as possible. Right. And so like if your cost of living right now is $5,000 a month and you're making $5,000 a month and you can take that $5,000 a month with you and cut costs down to $2,000 a month, you can pay off that loan like that.
Yeah.
I wish I only owed $10,000. I wish I only owed $10,000.
But it can be done.
It can be done. It can be done. I can see countries limiting Americans for visas, but I think the Caribbean and African continent will allow visas for Black Americans only. You might be onto something, ABX.
That would probably be a great thing to happen.
Right? You might be onto something. And I have yet to be able to watch. Adelia did a video on because we've only seen rumors and cursory research that you can get a citizenship with DNA from an African country. So now let me tell you, Adelia is the research queen. If you don't watch Picky Girl Travels, you should. She is the research queen. So I've got to watch this and see what, if there is any hope of us getting a passport with our Ancestry.com DNA results.
Okay.
I don't know. All right. So Christine said, I stopped eating out. The ingredients don't work for me anyway. And the money being spent is a no-no, right? I cook.
Good.
Right? There you go. And it probably tastes better anyway. Right? Thank you, Maria. Again, can you repeat the email address? Yes, it is hello@ourblackutopia.com. And the information is also in the description below on how to get in contact with us. hello@ourblackutopia.com. Okay, subreddits are specific communities on Reddit. Okay, I never got into Reddit. I tried.
Every once in a while, I'll look at it, but
it reminds me of the 90s too much.
Sometimes it pisses me off to look at it.
Thank you, Anita. We thank you so much. Change is hard but necessary. I will need a lot of hand holding. The whole utopian community is here
We will
to
hold
hold
your
your
hand
hand,
there.
right?
Yes.
Because look, we all need to be in community. We all need to be in community, and there's enough naysayers out there. So join our Black Utopias Fire Over 50 Facebook group, our Black Utopias Fire Over 50 Facebook group, and be in community with folks who are trying to get their money straight or who have already gotten their money straight and are offering advice as well, right? People who are trying to move abroad or who've already moved abroad and are trying to offer advice as well. um, Join the Fire Over 50 Facebook group. If you need help one-on-one, right? If it's like, you know what, all this crowdsourcing is nice, Halisi, but I want to talk to you and Rick directly. We offer one-on-one coaching. That information is in the description below. Of course, y'all heard about Beyond the Bling. That's our financial freedom program for late bloomers. That is year round. It's ongoing. It's self-paced. And then we meet once a month online for group coaching, live Q&A, etc. Sometimes I even bring in a guest speaker to talk every once in a while. So with that, I think we did it, and we're going to let you go.
Yeah, we did.
We love you guys, and we will see you on Thursday. Bye.